All right, here we are. Well, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I am Casey Thompson. I'm a case manager and transition specialist with the Madison Metropolitan School District, and I work specifically at Madison West High School, very close to our university and near Camp Randall, and very excited to be here today. I am with a wonderful individual, my presentation partner, Mr. Elijah Jimenez. EJ, do you mind for introducing yourself?
Hey guys. Hey, I'm Elijah Jimenez. I'm 23 years old and I was on the West High School transfer program in 2015.
All of that excitement.
Yeah, he may have to rejoin the meeting, I think. Some Wi-Fi issues probably.
All right, that likely means I'll have to text him with a little bit of direction. Oh, he's back. Hey, EJ, we lost you for a little bit. Do you mind redoing your introduction?
Sure, the Wi-Fi was acting up. So my name is Elijah Jimenez. I'm 23 years old. I was on the West High School transfer program in 2015 to 2018.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, EJ. Well, first of all, both of us just want to say thank you to, the BPDD and everyone at the Self-Determination Conference today. What an honor to be able to present to all of you. And also, thanks for joining us here. You could have gone to a number of other sessions, so it's humbling that you were able to join us. So I saw some fantastic presentations already throughout the day that are really, I think, going to inform a lot of the story that EJ has to tell. And so if you have questions at the end, hopefully we can answer them ourselves, but we know that there's a huge amount of resources that are given today that you can also refer back to. So yeah, EJ, anything else that you wanted to say before we officially get started?
No, it's all good.
All right. So yeah, a little bit more about Madison West High School and also the Madison Metropolitan School District's transition programs. So I have been teaching in the school district for about 8 years now. Time has really flown by. And Madison has a dedicated program to helping students align their post-secondary goals, whether that's related to supported employment, perhaps a little bit of support with their post-secondary education, their independent living goals, and their social and emotional development, and also just community integration. And more specifically with West High School, we have a community immersion program where we're trying to get students involved in their communities by gaining work experience via volunteer opportunities to kind of gain insight onto what are they going to be interested in when it comes to paid employment. But then also spending time with peers and most importantly, doing what same age peers would also be doing. So while some of our students may have chosen to remain enrolled in school until that age when they're going to be exiting at 21, they're going to be engaged in activities that are really similar to same age peers who might be going to school, like at the UW or Madison College, because they're going to be working, they're going to be furthering their education, they're going to be involved in social groups that are age appropriate, and yeah, getting prepared to be an adult once they leave the education system. So with that in mind, we try to build our student schedules in coordination with the rest of their IEP teams.
Y coordinamos su...
Students, it's always going to be student-centered and student-informed. Where does that student want to be in the years after they graduate? What do they want to be involved in? Who do they want to be around? Do they want to be living on their own in a supported living arrangement? Do they want to be staying at home? And we then look at their education from a sort of holistic perspective. We know that the emphasis and the driving force behind our work is going to be paid employment opportunities and being in supported employment settings. But we know also that that's not why we're on this earth, simply just to work, right? It's that we're working so that we can make ourselves available for the things that we really enjoy. So if we want to be spending time with our friends, if we want to be spending times in our own home, if we want to be, volunteering in our communities, we also want to be learning about how can we be creating a healthy balance between that work life and that home life. So we're going to be working on independent living skills, things that further your own understanding of, how you want to live your life with further hobby development, maybe a daily fitness routine, your mental wellness, things like that. And that's where all of our IEP team members come in to help us out in finding those opportunities and networking within our communities. But as always, referring back to the student, is this going to work for you? Is this what you're interested in? And are you open to it? So with all of that being said, we are going to play a short video for you. It's about 8 minutes long. I will be doing a little bit of a voiceover for the video, and then EJ is going to be answering the questions that are in the video. And yeah, it'll take about 8 minutes. So I'll share my screen here in just the next couple seconds so that we can all watch it together. And then we will reconvene for conversation and questions. So EJ, do I have the go ahead? Can I play the video?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
All right. And here we go. Hi, everyone. Today we get to talk to a high school graduate. A really smart guy. He's going to tell us about his high school transition experience.
Hey, my name's EJ. I'm 23. I went to West High School and I'm from Madison, Wisconsin.
Hi, EJ. What are your diagnoses? How do they affect your learning?
So I'm diagnosed with ADHD, bipolar, and dyslexia. With the bipolar, it's under control now, but it messed up the moods a little bit. ADHD was more for concentrating, so it's a little harder to concentrate if someone's talking to me. And dyslexia kind of affects my reading a little bit.
What do you think are your greatest strengths?
Okay, so my greatest strengths are talking to people, and I enjoy talking to people. I'm sympathetic and patient at times.
Oh, it's proven. You are so patient. Tell us more about high school. What were your career and independent living goals in high school?
So one of my goals was to be living on my own and getting to put up all my Michigan stuff. And I was working before high school at McDonald's, so in food business, I had experience in food business, so I just wanted to keep doing that as well.
What high school experiences helped shape your future?
So what I was doing was I wanted to stay in the food business, and I worked my way up in the food business. But then once I actually found something I liked even more, was working with kids. And that kind of changed my perspective of other ideas of what I wanted to do in my life.
Was your school able to help?
Yeah, the school did help me with a lot of that different stuff. They actually were one of the places that helped me find the career or job, you might as put it, was with working with kids. And funny thing was, they actually had a connection with one of my bosses I used to work with at a daycare. So they kind of helped with transportation and ways that would help that job work.
And all of that was your idea. So what are you up to these days?
So I'm currently working at the Goodwill Donation Center in Middleton in the warehouse. And I'm currently living at home with my parents right now.
What are your goals for this year into next?
So my goals right now are saving up a lot, the money. So I'm planning on moving out next year. And as well with that, I am planning on getting engaged next year to my girlfriend. And I don't think I would be at that point without the support from my family and hers. And yeah.
You have a strong family support network. Anyone else?
So as well, my parents have been helping me out, and as well as job coaches from the Goodwill. They are helping me with keeping the job, and my parents are helping me with money management a little bit. And without the job coaches, I feel like I wouldn't be getting the position I want to at my job, the Goodwill in Middleton.
Tell us more about work. What do you do at Goodwill?
So my hours right now are Monday, Wednesday, 2 to 5, and Thursday and Friday is 2 to 4:30. And what I am doing there is I scan books. So it's like me deciding what we throw away, what we can put on the donation floor, and what we get rid of, and what we can sell on our website. And the other thing I do right now is I go through old donations and eyeball it and say, hey, I feel like we could use this, and I feel like we could probably sell this.
Any new tasks on the horizon?
So soon I am going to be being trained on a higher position there. And that would be actually, I would have a pay quota, and I would have to do a certain amount of stuff in a certain amount of time. And I would pretty much be going actually labeling and donations and stuff like that. So that's pretty much like eyeballing everything and labeling it. And I have to label a certain amount of stuff in a certain amount of hours.
Sounds exciting. Sounds like more responsibility too. Where do you see yourself next year?
So where I hope to be by this time next year is living with my girlfriend. Hope to be engaged by then, and hopefully still be working this job, but as the new position I'm hoping I get.
Who is going to help you get there?
So the people who are helping me with that goal are my job coaches from Goodwill, my family, and she's helping me, of course, and her family and her dad would probably help me us more with finding a good apartment, because he owns 3 different apartments. So I feel like he would have some good feedback that we could use in that situation.
You are great at asking for help too. Do you have any advice for current high schoolers?
I would just have
my advice to high schoolers now in my situation would be, don't be afraid to try new stuff, because it might open up more opportunities and career options for you. And if you have like a job coach or a program you're with or whatever that helps you find jobs, don't be afraid to tell them that, hey, this is something I want to try. Hey, this is something I don't think I'll like, but just don't be afraid. Just do your own thing and just be kind, and it might work out.
That is great advice. What's with the movie poster?
My dad's movie. Of course, Barbara Streisand's in it. And it's Barbara Streisand.
Are there more Barbara Streisand posters?
yes.
The answer was yes, folks. All right. Thank you, EJ. And thanks for watching, everyone. All right, all right. So there's the video portion, everybody. If I had my druthers, this would be sort of the post screening at Sundance or Tribeca Film Festival, where we'd sit down with the director and the writer and the performers, where EJ and I would be, you know, sitting between two ferns and talking a little bit more. Instead, it's a Zoom call. So EJ, I noticed when I was watching that video, a couple thoughts came to mind. Do you mind answering a couple questions I have for you?
Sure.
So a lot of what you talked about, you know, was first, you know, with your own self-interests of, you know, you wanted to be involved in food business and you got involved in a couple different restaurants and you did that pretty independently. That was without the help of like the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. That was just with the support of your family, right? Going in, asking for an application,
Yes.
and then completing that. Is that right?
Yep.
Is there anything else you can say about that when you just said, hey, this is what I want to do, and you asked if you could work, or how did that kind of pan out?
So first it was me like really wanting a job. So I started working at McDonald's first, but I wouldn't call that like a career goal because like it's pretty much just a good job to get the feel working. And then that was like a job I had for like one summer, and then they let me go. They didn't let me go, but they're like, hey, we'll call you back in a certain amount of time and keep you working on this position. So they never really called, and I wanted to stay in the food business, so I went to Perkins.
Okay. And so by doing that, you just had gone in again, asked for an application, see what positions they had available. Did you know what you wanted to do at Perkins, or did they say, hey, this is what we have available?
So they started me off as a dishwasher for a while. And then after dishwasher, they put me as a prep cook.
Got it. Okay. So it was something where you had just said, I'm looking to get a job. And they said, this is what I've got. This is our offer. And you accepted that offer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, just being open to the experience and open to kind of what was available to you at the time. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. That's helpful to know. My next question is about kind of the connections that you were making, you know, throughout your high school career. First, you know, you're in food business and you're able to articulate that. You know, you probably told your teachers, you probably told your case manager, and of course your family knew about it too.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came time to join the transition program, you know, you finished your academic schooling and everything, and, you know, graduated from being a senior, and now you're in the transition program. Early on, you know, what did you tell your transition team when you said, here's what I'd like to do while I'm in this program, and here's where I want to be after I graduate?
So with them, it kind of like was a little bit of volunteering at restaurants and stuff like that, and at food pantries, and there was that. And then on the side, as a seasonal job, I was working at a Berkeley's running company, which is really cool for me because I'm a big shoe kind of person. So that was really cool, like seeing all the different kind of shoes and working in the back room, organizing shoes. And part of the uniform was you get to pick out a new pair of shoes to wear every day.
I remember that part. I love that. So then like Berkeley Shoe Company, though, it's so much different than the food industry. You know, how were you able to get that position? It was it like a teacher, a specialist, someone that said, let me help you find a job?
It was my case manager at that time. It was my case manager.
Gotcha. And if I remember right, you know, you worked there kind of as a seasonal employee. They said, you know, we'd love to be working with you as kind of like a temporary work experience.
Yes.
And you knew in your mind, you're like, okay, this isn't going to be forever. This is just me kind of trying, you know, new tasks, gaining new skills.
Yep.
Good to hear. More about kind of connections and everything. So, you know, you've got a case manager who obviously is looking out for you and trying to help you find employment opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your family as well. At that time, when you're in the transition program, were there other, you know, other groups, other people, you know, other organizations that are helping you find, you know, more work or helping you kind of figure out what you're going to do after high school?
Not really. I feel like it was more the family and the goodwill. I mean, the West High School staff was mostly it.
Okay. I remember a little bit of involvement from like the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, or DVR. I think they had helped with just some of the funding. But I think the work opportunity, you know, created through school. But yeah, what I noticed throughout your presentation is that it was really, you had some very strong connections. You had built a network. You had your family, you had your friends, you had your case manager and your school staff and everything. And then as time went on, you had all of these employment experiences that you could kind of refer back to. You could ask any one of those job sites, any previous supervisor for like a letter of recommendation or to kind of speak on your behalf for future employment opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha. Two more questions, okay?
Okay.
So I noticed though that you were pretty open-minded to opportunities. You had, this idea first that it was going to be, I'm going to work in the food industry. But then someone says, sure, but this is what I've got for you right now. You're going to be dishwashing. And you accepted that opportunity, even though you're like, okay, that's not my greatest desire, but this is a good start. I've got the inside knowledge here, so I'm going to talk about one of your previous experiences. That kind of happened at when you were working at Nextdoor, right? Nextdoor Brewing in Madison. You had started out in one position, and then they saw you excelling, and they offered a couple extra shifts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there anything that you'd like to talk about and about that experience? Because that one to me was significant because it meant like you demonstrated a great amount of skill, but then also like focus and determination and an openness to new things where they said, do you want to do this too? And you're like, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Nothing else to add to that? You agree with it?
Yep.
Okay. Then how about, you've worked in so many different fields now. You've been in retail, you've been in the food industry, and then you were in childcare. Holy cow, that one's pretty significant because that requires some additional training. And that one, obviously, you've got to be really good with people. Is there anything you want to talk about in regards to your experience working with kids?
So with the kids thing, I started volunteering at the kids museum. I was a volunteer to start with. And then as the time went on, the bosses were like, hey, we'll give you this discovery guide position, which is me like running exhibits, watching the kids, listening, all that different stuff, running programs, that kind of stuff. And in addition with that, while I was working there, I actually had a contact that actually had me working as a second in command staff at his daycare. And I met them through the bus. Like I would ride the bus with them every day. With going off to the museum, I would ride the bus with them every day. They would come to the museum twice a week. So I kind of built a bond with that boss and the kids as well. And then he's like, hey, do you want to volunteer at the daycare he owned? And I'm like, sure. So before I got the higher position at the kids museum, he was one of the people helping me with it. He was a good reference, and he was one of the people like teaching me like all this different stuff that I needed to know for that position. Mm-hmm. And then when I got the position, I had to do some like kind of a lot of training in different ways to how to deal with situations. So yeah.
Okay. And ultimately that led to a paid position at the Children's Museum because you had experience working with children and kind of keeping them engaged and helping them learning.
Yep.
Right now. Okay. I'm going to have one more question after this comment, but for those of you all listening, you might be kind of seeing this sort of through line of EJ's work experience. It's changed course a couple different times, right? He started out in food service and then eventually got a position in retail. And all of a sudden he's volunteering to work with kids and he gets hired to work with kids. So that's a lot of different changes over the course of a couple different years. So I'm just mentally noting that he was really open to different opportunities and he wanted to try different fields to see which ones he would really want to stick with. So EJ, before we open up the floor to questions from all of our visitors today, can I just ask, so you're currently working at Goodwill. You mentioned that you were going to have some new tasks that were going to start probably pretty soon. Did those new tasks start yet?
They have.
They have. Okay. And how are things going there?
They're good. Got a different position than the one I thought I was going to get, but it's all good.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about the new position?
Not really.
Okay.
a lot more calming. And so I don't have a quota. Actually, it's pretty nice because then I don't have to like worry about not making it. You know what I mean? I'm more doing something I like more. I'm more hands-on, moving around, working, and I actually get to interact with more people. So that's really cool too. So I'm the one kind of taking stuff out of the cars, running donations and stuff like that. And yeah, it's pretty fun.
Nice. All right. That one sounds kind of nice. It seems like you're using your body a little bit more. And like you said, when EJ mentions not having a quota, it means he doesn't have to, ticket or mark items like a certain amount per hour. So there's a little less stress, it sounds like.
Which I would have to say thank you to one of my Goodwill staff. Because
Okay.
she was actually looking out for me in that situation because she's like, hey, if you don't make this quota, you're going to be panicking a lot and it's going to be super stressful. So she's actually the person that talked to my boss and said, can he do this?
Mm-hmm.
Really
Okay,
cool.
so you have an additional advocate there. Okay. Interesting. So I'm just going to, before we open up the floor, I'm just going to reiterate really quickly. The main themes I kind of saw from your video were definitely an open-mindedness, knowing that you're interested in certain things, but that you're going to try new opportunities so you gain experience. You really valued your relationships. You took care of people, and those people took care of you in the future. And you relied on the people around you to kind of help you out as you needed to. But then I'm also just going to say perseverance. I really feel like you worked in so many different environments that asked you to do different things. You gave them a try, you stuck with it, and you're here today working a pretty great position because of all of that work experience you had in the past. Would you agree with that?
I would.
Awesome. Cool. All right. I think Sue was going to help us with some of the questions from the chat if there were any. If there are not, please feel free, audience, to type anything in if you'd like. Any questions for EJ? I know I've got a couple more that I can ask him if we don't see any kind of pop up in the chat room. Nothing yet. So I'm going to, oh, okay. I can see this one, Sue.
Oh, okay, Adam. All right.
Thanks for your help, though.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Just really good compliments, EJ. People liked your presentation.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, we have some familiar faces out there saying hi and then just doing a great job. And then Beth asks, what's kind of like your long range work goal, EJ? So you just got this new position at Goodwill Industries. What do you see kind of yourself doing a couple years from now or, several years from now?
Right now, I would probably say still work there for a while. I wouldn't say it's like my exact career goal I would want, but I feel like it's a good start for now though.
Are you thinking about kind of working with kids again someday, or where do you see yourself?
Yeah, I would love to work with kids again.
Okay. I mean, you earned a certification to be able to do that, and you've got the experience too, so I hear you. What do you think you can do in order to kind of meet that goal? Do you feel confident talking to, your current job support team?
I would feel comfortable with seeing if like Kids Museum or my old boss or whatever could give me references, which would be really nice of them to do, and maybe work at a daycare again.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. I know you would do a fantastic job there, so I'd be really happy to see you working in that environment again. We're at the 3:29 mark, so we're just about done. Do you have any other advice for either maybe some younger listeners out there, people who are either still in high school, in the transition programs, or maybe will enter a transition program really soon?
I would just say open your mind to more varieties of stuff you would want to do.
I think we have a really good question here that is going to be a good follow-up to that one. We have a question that asks, what is your advice to teachers working with students in transition programs? What advice do you got for me and other teachers out there?
I would just have to say be supportive in what your students would want to do or wouldn't want to do. And try to give them more varieties of work and just sit down and talk to them and see what they would like to do.
Do you think in terms of more variety in work, do you mean like concrete work experiences where you're in the workplace trying things out?
I would say anything. Like if you guys are passionate about like sports or whatever, work at a gym, do something at the gym or whatever. Because some gyms, like if you work there, they'll give you discounts and stuff on memberships. If you're into sports, do that. If you're in the food business, try out new places. Just open your mind to what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Great advice, EJ. Thank you. I'm going to say quickly that, you know, we talked a lot about sort of you using your experiences to kind of move on with the employment story. I'll reiterate that, you know, there's a lot of presentations today that would have been super helpful, kind of subjects that support EJ's thinking, you know, things like what kind of support can I have in the workplace and how do I know what kind of support I can have in the workplace, kind of developing an independent living plan so that you can eventually move on like EJ is. He'll be having his own apartment next year. And then also too, kind of like the supported decision-making process so that, you know, someone like EJ gets to have a voice in a lot of the decision-making with a little bit of guidance too. So really excellent resources today that I think would kind of be great background information for what EJ's story had for us. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us and for taking the time to hear what EJ's story was all about and listening to my nasally voice as well. It was really an honor to be able to present to you today.
Thanks, guys.
Take care of yourselves out there. Stay safe.